Good morning. You're all very welcome to our Champion Green webinar, which today looks at e-commerce and how SMEs can drive online growth. I'm Sven, I'm the director of the Small Firms Association, and joining me on the panel today are Una McCutcheon, Corporate Communications Manager at .ie, Ireland's official national domain registry, Gordon Newman, the go-to market director who leads marketing and e-commerce at Ireland's largest sports retailer, Lifestyle Sports, and Rob Price, who is Chief Revenue Officer at Extreme Push, the tech specialist in digital customer engagement. The pandemic has accelerated a massive shift to e-commerce through necessity. And while the reopening of physical retail will reclaim ground from online, a large cohort of consumers will remain online, persuaded by the growing ease and convenience of browsing and clicking online. So whether you have recently transitioned online or need advice to grow your business and reach customers more effectively and efficiently, our panel this morning can really help you. Before we get started, just a bit of housekeeping. This webinar will be recorded and uploaded later today on the Champion Green website. You can ask questions using the chat bar, and a big thank you to the Kilkenny Design and Management PR team for organizing the webinar today. Let me start with Una. I recently saw your report, the 2020.ie domain profile report, where new .ie domain registrations have substantially gone up. I think around 65,000 new domain registrations last year, the highest ever increase, I believe. And also I've heard that the central bank are now looking at the increase in .ie domain registrations as an economic indicator. Can you tell us a bit more about this, Una?
Yeah, happy to do that, Sven. We published the domain profile report just there at the end of January, and it covers the whole year of 2020. And like every other domain registry across Europe, certainly we experienced very high growth, but Ireland's growth was very significantly ahead of that of other countries. So we had 30% increase in new registrations in 2020. And that was really driven by COVID, by the lockdown, by businesses realizing that they really had to get online. And so those were the key pushes, I suppose. For the first time ever, there was an increase in every county in Ireland. That hasn't happened before. So again, it's showing that the spread is right across the country. And yeah, you mentioned the central bank. They actually now include our stats within their quarterly economic bulletin, and they do see .ie domains, as a forward indicator of business activity. And I think what we saw through 2020 was the peaks and troughs in registrations. So as the lockdowns occurred, there was a massive demand for new domain registrations. Then it petered off a little bit. Then it peaked again in October. So yeah, it very much followed the pattern of the lockdowns. And it's nice to see as well that there's huge patriotism from Irish people, and .ie has 51% of the market versus .com with 32%. And I think it's important if you're operating in the Irish market to have a .ie domain. So happy to talk about any more stats if you'd like.
No, but that's really interesting, and I think it's all on your website as well. We.ie. So that's really interesting because you have also interesting other reports there and SME success stories. But can I ask you, Una, what is the from your perspective and your experience? What is the process for an SME to set up an online presence? What are the do's and don'ts? What must be done, and what are the costs involved?
Yeah, well, I think probably the first thing I'd say is a business should get a really good web developer. They could save you a massive amount of time and money. They can really advise you well. They've been through it a million times before, so they have all the experience. But do check around and ask for recommendations. Don't just go with any developer. Really check them out, because it's a key decision. They will help you with everything from design and functionality to the choice of your domain name and domain extension, for the business that you're in. And I think it's really important for anybody, whether they're online already or whether they are just coming online, is to decide that, you know, that the website is a central part of your business strategy. It's not just an add-on. It's not just a response to COVID. It has to work for the business. And I think that that's very important. I think business owners, as we all know, they're consumers too. So, you know, if you encounter a really brilliant experience from another, maybe unrelated business, try and replicate that within your own online, and note what you like and what you don't like. In terms of costs, that is a really difficult question and one that people are often not prepared to answer. But you can get up and running with a small, basic e-commerce website for as little as £5,000. It'll be a first step. And if you want to do something really significant, say lifestyle sports, you know, you're going to be spending multiples of that on your website. So it depends on where you are in the journey. That's what I would say. So if you're at the starting off point, you know, you can get in and get online reasonably cheaply, but you will have to continue to invest. And that's where I'd urge people to go to the likes of the Leos, which have been giving out trading online vouchers over 2020. I believe 13,000 were given out, which is a huge number. Or go to your sectoral organization, whatever that might be. They often have training courses. The Leos are doing a lot of online training at the moment, which is great because it's very convenient for people to be able to do that. Easier to do it than to leave the office, maybe. So those would be my tips.
If I remember correctly, Una, you also have, I think it was last year that you published a checklist, what SMEs should be asking the web developer, what questions they should be asking and what they should be looking for, depending on the type of website they want to develop.
Yeah, we created a template. Again, it's on our website. One thing that we often observed was SMEs would say that they were getting very different quotes back from maybe 3 different developers. And largely that was because they weren't asking each developer for the same thing. So we created a template so that they could send it out to 3 different developers and get the answers back and compare apples with apples. So yeah, that's free to download. Anybody can use it, and I hope it will be of help to businesses.
Brilliant, thanks, Una. Gordon, over to you. Lifestyle sports is obviously hugely experienced in the online space. And before I get to my question, can I ask you how you, as your business, as Lifestyle Sports, have developed online over the last 12 months? Because obviously, with it being in and out of lockdown, this must have had a huge impact on your business. Obviously, on the one hand, for the bricks and mortar side, obviously not that positive, but I believe there's some positive news in relation to how you have developed your online business, Gordon.
Yeah, of course, Sven. So the Lifestyle Sports online business over the last 12 months has experienced something like 3 years growth over that period. It was already accelerating well online. And I suppose there were 2 trends. One that people have moved to shop online because that was their only option. And the stores have unfortunately been closed for much of the last 12 months. And also the trend in working out from home. So what we've seen is about 200% growth over the last 12 months, which has been quite challenging for us as a business, as the entire team, and that would be the entire team across the business, not just our e-commerce and our marketing teams, have had to really respond to that. And we've had to work very closely together to be able to support that growth and continue to provide a good customer experience. But one of the key things that we've done throughout the last 12 months is continually invest in our online platforms, our supporting systems, and the way that we trade our business. But for online, it has been a year of quite staggering growth, which I think a lot of people who were already trading online have really experienced. And there's lots of studies around the internet that are saying the same kind of things for many retailers.
Tell me then from your experience, then what are the basic operational foundations of online retail you need to get right so that the customer experience of shopping online is seamless and really enjoyable?
Well, I think that the first thing or the point that you said there is really important around the customer experience. So when we look at our the online part of our business, it's not our business and online. Online is our business, or omni-channel retail is our business, as we talk about it. That end-to-end customer experience. It's one of the places where the customer can experience our brand. So we try and put the customer at the center of absolutely everything that we're doing around online in particular. So that means that there's really quite a lot of things for you to think about. So we always start with our operational performance. So when we talk about operations, we talk about how we're fulfilling customers' orders. So when a customer places an order with us, what is that process that we have through our ERP systems and with our team and our distribution center to ensure that order is picked correctly, is picked really, really quickly. And if we've promised to deliver that order to a customer, that we're delivering that into our courier partners at the right time so that they can then deliver that out through their network. So that's one area that we think about and we put a lot of time and attention and focus into. We also think about surfacing our brand online, and that's really important so that experience of our brand is consistent when a customer sees one of our adverts, goes into one of our stores, or shops with us online. So we talk in the same way and we talk about the same things. Then we think about content and the product content that we have online. So the first thing there is we make sure that what products we're showing and what stock we're showing to our customers is accurate, so that we're not selling something that we haven't got. And on the flip side of that is by making sure that what we have got is available to sell online as quickly as possible. And then the supporting content around that, we try and build that content. So our product photography and our product descriptions, we build that content around what shows the features and the benefits of the product in the best way possible to the customer. So in the way that we try and get it as close to how they would experience that if they, particularly in descriptions, if they were talking to a sales team member in one of our stores. So then we also have the user experience consideration, so the front end of the website. So how does a customer use the website? How do they find products? How do they search for products? Do they use the navigation? Do they use the search bar? And does that work correctly? And is the flow nice and logical for them? But does it have bits of inspiration in there? So we really try and bring that to life. And then you go into checkout, and there's lots to think about in checkout. So is that experience nice and secure for the customer? Is the payment options that we're offering them, are we offering a bare minimum all of the credit cards, all of the debit cards, and PayPal? And then what else might we need to layer on top of that? So that's that part of the web experience. And then we have to think about marketing. So how customers are actually going to know about us as a brand and know what we stand for and what we sell. And there's lots to think about there. But then also when they're searching for a specific product, how do we show up in search? And we work with some really good agencies and some really good web developers. And I think Una's point is really right. The team at Lifestyle Sports, we don't have all of the answers, so we rely on our partners a lot of the time. For me, one of the most important pieces is how do we support and service our customers once that order has been placed. So if a customer has a question for us, we make sure that we get back to them as quickly as possible, and that there's lots of ways for them to contact us. So there's quite a lot in there to think about. It's not just, and I suppose the thing for me is always, it's not just about the website. The website is a really, really important part of it, but think about the customer, put the customer at the center of all of this, and design that whole experience for the customer. And we're all customers, so think about like what we like, what we've seen that we really, really love online, and how can we recreate that in our business, or things that we would really like to see online that we don't, and then how can we kind of innovate around that and build really good services for them. The other key point for me is if we promise a customer that we are going to deliver them a product, and if we say you can order from us at 10 o'clock in the evening and you are going to get it tomorrow, we have to make sure that we get it there tomorrow. And if we make that promise and then we don't meet that promise, then we have the potential to have lost that customer forever.
Yeah, and I never forget, recently my son tried to order, not from Lifestyle Sports obviously, but just a nameless small Irish online retailer, and it was the specific toy he wanted, and it was the only place where you could get it. He went to the website, he found it, he paid for it, and there was silence then. So it was said that the order was placed. But between the notification that the order was placed and the actual delivery then of the product to our doorstep, there was absolutely zero communication. There was no way for us to ask the retailer any questions in between. Where's the order? I think what you just said there is really encouraging to hear, and that you are getting it right, and that you take this from when you've had the customer to your website, from the time he's paid, to the delivery of the product so seriously, because that's where you can actually lose the customer then going forward.
Yeah, we all like to know what's going on, right? So keeping the customer informed, it's a really easy thing to do. We've picked your order, we've passed your order to the courier, your order's on the way, and that really gives the customer comfort, particularly if it's the first time that they've ever shopped with you. And that's one of the things we've seen this year, is many people that would have been Lifestyle Sports customers in our stores may not have shopped with us online before. So it's been really important for us to make sure that when they do have that first online shopping experience with us, that it's a good one and that they enjoy it. Because the great thing about working in retail is that we get to engage with customers, and we get to give them products that they love, and we get to give them experiences that they really enjoy, and that's really important for us, is to build these things that customers really like. Because aside from, like, we're all in business to make money, but really one of the great things about working in retail, and one of the reasons I love working in retail, is that you get to create these wonderful experiences for customers.
So over to you, Rob. So Extreme Push, when I first heard your company name, I thought, well, it ties into Lifestyle Sports and has something to do with working out and sports, but you're a cutting edge digital communication company. What is exactly that you do, Rob?
Well, before I go into exactly what I do, I think what Gordon has addressed in delivering that exceptional customer experience to each individual in store is what we do. We replicate that experience online to ensure sort of leading experience for the customers when they interact with your retailer. So what we actually do is we're an engagement, personalization, and data platform. So what that means is we help brands communicate with potential customers, but really importantly, to interact and engage with their existing customers, all through, as Gordon said, the process of purchasing, but also pre and post sales. So it's really important in that. And for customers, how that ends up is we help brands, and as Gordon said, make money.
So that's Rob gone there for a
and that's
second,
really important. Oh, sorry.
So you were just gone there for a second. Yeah, so we lost you there for a second, which it's a sign that we are live and we're not recording this. So if you could just go back a tiny bit and repeat.
So again, I don't know where you lost, but we're a personalized agent and engagement platform. So what we do is we help customers, I don't know if I said it, communicate with existing customers, but also with potential new customers, which is really important. And for everyone in the online space, it helps them, one, drive revenue, as Gordon said, which is really important. But a part that's exceptionally important in this in the online is to build customer loyalty and engagement with your customers. So that's essentially what we do. The platform is built for marketeers and business people to help you ensure and deliver the best experience for people who want to engage and interact with your brand.
And I believe, Rob, congratulations are in order. I saw recently that did a headline that you have been selected by RTE to provide its multi-channel digital engagement analytics platforms. May I ask what you're going to do exactly for them without revealing any trade secrets?
No, so it goes back to as well the same experience within the retail sector. What we do for people is provide relevant, personalized information in real time to customers or potential people who interact. So in the case of RTE, around the breaking news, and it ties in with a very good point that Gordon mentioned. It's also got to be multi-channel. So for example, I sometimes might want to receive a message on my app or on my desktop or on my email or via SMS. So it's getting an understanding of your customers. So in the case of RTE, it's understanding their user base, what news is relevant. So the news for you, Sven, could be different for Gordon or for Una. And it's providing that relevant news to you or to me as a consumer in a real-time situation. So that's one side of it around the breaking news. And then it's increasing engagement of you're interested in this, well, maybe this is other type news, but it's all done, and we'll probably touch on it in a personalized way on first party data. And I know we'll touch on that later. That isn't spam, that you have permission to connect with the people and adds relevance or importance to their, from an informational, or in the case of a retailer, from a purchasing intent.
Tell me then, from the perspective of a small business owner who has an established website, an online presence, what can be done to more effectively reach the customers, either using that website or the app or even an email database, and what tools of personalizing digital interaction with customers are there?
So again, if you look at it, the one thing that's really important is you, and it's for its lifestyle and for everyone on this call, is they're your customers and you have the data on them. So it's really important that, first of all, you mind that, but you understand it and have it talking to each other. And like Gordon experienced, like if your website says you have stock in Store Street and somebody goes in and that it's not there, you have to have all your data synced up. So first of all, from that perspective, you have to have a data strategy and understand how you do it. But if I look at it specifically from a retailer's perspective and where they're like, metrics are really important, and everyone will understand that acquisition costs are probably going up and lifetime values, because people might be as loyal and there's bigger opportunities, that they're sort of decreasing. So you really got to understand your metrics and what drives value for your business. So if I take two examples, the ways we can look at it from a consumer perspective, you can either reach people who are showing an intent or an interest in your product or solution, or talk to existing customers and offer something might be relevant. So two scenarios, like when people go on a shopping cart, 79% of people abandon that process. So already while you might get 21%, you're losing 79%. So what we would do is help with that, understand. So in the case of it, if I'm going on to buy a treadmill and get interested and drop off, how we will help that person is, okay, you've dropped off. We will communicate with them, say, hi, you were looking at this, what you dropped off, and we'll bring them back within that process to the step they were in to help them along the journey. But we'll also do it in whether they're more prone to receiving a message from email, from SMS, from a push notification on your desktop, and we'll drive it on to help purchase and deliver the experience. So that's sort of one area. And then another element which is really important is with existing customers. So we'll go into the most recent phenomenon of everyone buying dry robes if you're selling dry robes, but it's sort of like the hierarchy of products of you've bought this, so something relevant might be a wetsuit, it might be boots, it might be whatever, but it's understanding and communicating in different personalized ways of intent and individualization. So that gives a better customer experience, but also gives a much, and again, ultimately, and I go back to Gordon's point, drives increased revenue and lifetime value for you as the owner of the store.
Maybe if you can take a step back and look at a business that only wants to start on their online journey now to develop a new online presence. Maybe it's also a brand or a business that is not very well known. How do you get footfall to your website or awareness that you're there in the first place? Maybe Una and Gordon, maybe you can answer that question.
Well, if I think back to when we first launched our website, we're very lucky in that we've got stores on most high streets and in most shopping centres in the country. So we use that as a platform to announce that to our existing customers that they could now shop online with us. So I think if you're a small business and you have customers coming to your store, then that's a great place to start talking to them about it. And one of the things that we tried to tackle very early is that your online presence doesn't take away from your store site, from your store sales. It's very much complementary because you're putting the customer at the center and you're giving them choice around how they can shop with you. But there are then lots of other tools to reach new customers and new markets, and that's really around having a full marketing plan for your business. And there are lots of different digital tools that you can use to reach new customers. So, for example, search is very effective. But search, since we think about marketing in terms of a funnel, and search sits at the bottom of the funnel when a customer's got really high purchase intent and they want to purchase a specific pair of running shoes from us. So we make sure that we show up there and we're part of that conversation, but we have a broader brand marketing plan, and we think about what our overall brand proposition is and how we are going to reach the customers within that. So which segments of the market do we want to talk to and what do we want to talk to them about? So the recommendation here is good. I was going to say good old-fashioned marketing, good marketing, proper marketing planning. Who is the customer that you want to talk to? Who is the customer that currently buys from you? And who's the customer that you want to buy from you? And then look at the media that they consume and the type of things that you can talk to them about. And of course, it's really important to have, we know that social media is huge. So it's important, particularly for us, is to have a really strong social media presence. But we're talking to the type of customer that we are targeting about the type of things that they are interested in. So the recommendation that always comes from me is think about the customer, put the customer at the center, and then build your marketing plan around that and incorporate digital and incorporate e-commerce within that. But don't treat it as a separate piece of activity. It's part of your business.
Una, do you want to come in there as well?
Yeah, I would endorse everything that Gordon has said. I think you've made all the key points, about how it's an omni-channel or multi-channel approach where you use your social search, advertising, and Google has quite a lot of good resources available for SMEs to help them get started on that journey. But I think one thing that I've observed with small businesses, and this is just my own experience and anecdotally, is that small businesses, up until COVID in any case, rarely asked their customers what they wanted from their online presence. And you know, I'd sometimes say to a business owner, oh, do you realize your opening hours are out of date, or it's February and you've got your Christmas opening hours up, this type of thing. And they'll go, oh, no, we have to get our web developer to do that. And I said, why can't the person operating the till do that? So, you know, business owners trust their staff with cash, but for some reason they don't trust them to go into the back end of the website and make a simple change. So I think building those skills in-house is really important, so that, you know, simple enough information can be changed on the fly and you don't have to go back and pay a developer or get in line till the developer is good and ready to deal with your case. But most of all, I'd say ask your customers what they want and what their experience is and what they'd like to see on your website.
Just talking about customers and what customers are looking for at the moment. So regardless whether you have a new website and just getting started on this journey, or you are an established online trader who's looking for more customers online or selling more, what are the main trends in terms of consumer behavior? What are online shoppers looking for? What excites them? Maybe Rob and Gordon.
Well, I suppose first of all, and just to finish on the last piece, the one thing I'd say to add to Una and Gordon is make sure you understand the metrics. No matter whether you're spending €20 or 2,000, every size business should understand, trial and test on what works for them, and understand because what worked for Gordon might work for Una or me. And that's massively important for everyone, no matter what they do, is just track it and understand the metrics. So it's a big point. Back to the consumer piece. I mean, the biggest point, and it's whether it's in store, online, or whatever, people are always interested in what's relevant for them. And that's what you've got to think as well, and where we look at the space and whether they buy it in store, whether they buy it online, it's about getting the right experience where they feel that they're at the center of the transaction and it's relevant for them and will add value to them. So when you're looking at it around it, it's understanding, and especially in the online, and we'll touch again about the data, but it's having a view of the people and understanding their data and ensuring that it's all synced up and that you're providing the relevant information. And I go back to, I had a really bad experience. I bought a book last week. I went online, searched for it, bought a book actually about 2 weeks ago. I'm still getting advertising from it in different ways and spans of, here, buy this book, buy this book. So obviously it's not synced up that I looked for the book, I bought this book, it's having the data that this person, they have my information, yet I'm getting bombarded by ads and all that. So it's something somebody's posted in it. It's about relevant, having permission, but also having the first party data on people, that if Rob has bought this book, he doesn't want to see this book again. He wants to see complementary books. He wants to see additional information. And that's really, if you look at it, the experience you deliver in a store is what you need to be looking to deliver online. And it's when it goes back to us, it's all about what's relevant, personable to me, and that adds value to me.
I think that's a really great point, Rob, because for us, if we've just sold somebody a pair of running shoes, we don't want to then start talking to them about more running shoes. We want to talk to them about how to get the most out of their running shoes, or what they should be wearing with their running shoes. To jump back to your points, Sven, there are lots of really great tools available that can, and Google in the Google Trends application that they have, that can point you at what customers are looking for online, and that's a great way to first start identifying the trends of what's hot. And obviously, as Rob said there, what's hot for a customer is what's relevant to them personally. So Google Trends is a really interesting place to start actually looking at what customers are looking for generally across the internet. Google has the vast majority of market share on search, and it's one we're all customers, so we all know that when we're looking for something, we go to Google and we type in what we're looking for. So I think that's a brilliant tool. The other thing that we do is we take some of our search data and we look what customers are looking for from us. So what are our customers searching for? And then we take that information, share it with our teams, and we make those products really easy to then find on the website. So no surprises what customers have been looking for over the last 12 months from us. They've been looking for home workout gear. They've been looking for running shoes. They've been looking for weights and fitness accessories. So that all lines up, and you can go and have a look at the trends on Google. We match that against our own data, and then we build an experience for our customers around that.
Una, do you want to add on that as well, or?
No, I think the guys have it well covered there.
Just the questions are starting to come in, and I can only encourage our participants this morning to keep them coming. Here's a question for Rob. You will love to hear this. Love extreme push. And then the question: are the notifications dependent on customer cookie accepts, specifically for the example you gave, where you can notify customers to recontinue their journey?
So this is massively important, and an area that everyone has to be thinking about is first-party data, third-party data, and cookies. Everything we do or help clients with is based on their own customer data. So it's first-party opt-in elements. So people, if they should be aware, but if they're not aware, by the end of the year, third-party cookies are going to be disappearing, which is going to have a significant impact on businesses of building lookalike audience and all that. So it's even more and more important over the next 10, 11 months to be building up the data points on your specific customers and having that information that you have, and it will touch on it, permission to connect and engage with these people moving forward. So everything we do for clients, whether it's RTE, whether it's the retail space, sports betting and gaming, is all about first party, permission based, that's relevant and personal to the individual or the segments you're reaching out to.
There's a question coming in for Gordon. Yasmina has just set up an e-commerce website. She wants to reach out to her existing customer base to thank them for purchasing and also to engage more with them. Is it okay to share other products, offers, and possibly invite them to sign up? So she has a business called the Wellness Circle.
Well, it absolutely is, and customers love hearing about complementary products and other services, but it's only okay to share that if you've got their permission beforehand and if you've got permission to talk to them, and that's really, really important. It's important for two reasons. The first reason is from a customer perspective. You don't want to have your inbox flooded with emails that you haven't asked for and that aren't necessarily relevant. And the second reason is that from a GDPR perspective, you're actually not allowed to do that. So it's regulated against. So you've got that regulatory piece that you need to ensure that you're compliant with, and the data protection. The data protection officer here, that their website has all of the detail on there that you need to follow. It's quite straightforward. But once you have that permission to talk to them, and the customer said, yes, I want to hear from you, then talk to them about things that are complementary and things things that they may be interested in. But the key thing for that is to just think about it as yourself and what would be most relevant. So if you were that customer, what would you like to hear about?
Super, thanks, Gordon. There's a question coming in. I think that's one for you, Una. What's the best advice for someone starting in the online space who finds it very overwhelming and who has very small budget?
Yeah, well, the first place I would go is to your local enterprise office. They are really well equipped to help businesses of all sizes, and especially small businesses just starting out. So that's the very first place I'd go. They'll be able to give you training, advice. They'll really help you, and they've had massive focus on online in the last number of years, but particularly since COVID. Second thing I'd do is, just ask around among your own network, family and friends. Ask them Have they set up a website? What was the experience like? Would they recommend the web developer? And then thirdly, you know, for any organization that you're a member of, like Champion Green or SFA or whatever, you know, the others in that network may recommend somebody to you who's perhaps local to you. So maybe there's people in the audience today who can recommend a web developer specifically for somebody starting out. And it's important that you make sure that when you choose a web developer, that they're matched to your needs. So there's no point in going to the lifestyle sport web developer because you're just not going to be important in their frame of mind. So you need to find somebody who matches and will be interested in your relatively small requirements.
Thanks, Una. There's another question coming in here for Rob. And this question is, there are a lot of lead forensic companies contacting us, but we're not sure about how ethical this would be. It feels very stealthy. Also, is it GDPR compliant? We would appreciate your thoughts.
Okay, so it goes back to you. No matter what you do, you're still going to receive all of these spam, as I'd call it. It goes back to the point I've said and what Gordon has said. Every bit of marketing or advertising or stuff that you should be doing should be based on permission you've received from an individual to contact or connect with. And that would be the approach I would start with in anything you do. You have to proactively get the information. And if you receive something like that out of the blue, what I always do is press the delete button straight away. And again, it goes back to, it has to be permission based, that somebody has asked or let you talk to them or connect. It's like if you meet somebody on the street, you're not all going to start bombarding them with different stuff. It's having the connection and permission to. So if it feels wrong or looks wrong, avoid it.
So there's two more questions, and these are unfortunately the two last questions we can take because we're coming to the end of our time here. So question for Gordon. I moved my business online last year and have generally had good sales, but what I really miss is customer feedback. I was previously a market trader and found the face-to-face experience and instant feedback very important. I'd like to invite my online customers to put reviews on Google, Trustpilot and so on, but I'm worried about spamming them with emails. Thanks, Maeve from the Irish Whiskey Stone Company.
We ask our customers to give us reviews. Because that's one of the only ways that we can get direct feedback from them of their online experience. So unless they contact us to query their order, so we do ask them for reviews, and we ask them to review products, and we ask them to review the service that they've received. Customers like being asked. But the key thing to do is, if a customer is kind enough to give you some feedback, then you need to be kind enough to acknowledge that you've had that feedback, be that positive or negative, and have that conversation with them. So that's the bit that I would say is, don't just ask them for reviews and then take the reviews from them. Thank them once they've given you your reviews. And it's a bit like if you were having a conversation with them in the shop, and a customer told you what they thought, you'd say thank you very much. So do the same thing. Customers like being asked for their opinion, and they're quite happy to give it to you, but really acknowledge that they've done that and thank them for it, because that feedback is really golden, because you can take that feedback back into your business. And you can think about what they've said, and you can use that information to improve your service, or maybe change your service to make it better for them. And ask them things that they would like to see, because that's how you build your relationship with a customer. And we always talk about customers as, particularly online, we talk about the data, but behind every single one of these data points, there is a person. And that person is going through some kind of experience. So they're not remote. They're not just, behind every click of a mouse, there's a person clicking that mouse.
I saw, Rob, you were nodding profusely there. So if you want to come in there.
No, I mean, it's just everything. And it goes back to the experience that you'd expect someone to get if you were chatting to them in a store or in your shop or whatever. Look to replicate that with the individual through whatever channel they're looking to be talked to in an online space. And that you can't go wrong if you take that approach.
So last question here, and it's actually a very, very good question, because after all, we are Champion Green, a shop local initiative. This question is here. I notice on social media that people are looking to buy from Irish retailers and avoid UK website. Gordon, have you seen this as most of, have you seen this as well? Have you observed this as well, as most of your competitors are obviously UK based, like JD and Sports Direct?
Yeah, it's something that we talk about. We talk about it a lot. We talk about being proudly Irish. We're an Irish-owned, Irish-operated brand, and for me, I think what we've seen from our customers is there's a lot of uncertainty, particularly around Brexit, and if they're going to incur additional customs charges, are there going to be delays? So as one of the steps we've taken is to actually talk to customers about that. So include it in our communications and talk about the benefits of shopping with an Irish brand, and what's in it for them over and above patriotism. So there are going to be no additional customs charges. There's definitely going to be no delays when you're ordering from us. And if you need to speak to a member of our team because something hasn't gone quite right, then we've got a team here in Dublin that are going to be keen to speak to you and help you fix your problem.
Brilliant. Well, guys, thank you so much. This is all that we have time for at this month's Champions Green webinar. Just to reiterate that the recording of our discussion will be available online on championgreen.ie next week for you to listen back. Please sign up to Champion Green on the Champion Green website to join our database. We're going to ask you for permission to sign up and to hear from us what's coming up. There's also a chance to win €100 One for All voucher if you fill out a survey to help us improve Champion Green and our initiatives to support small businesses. Also to say that SkillNet Ireland have currently an initiative called Mentors Work. This initiative will give you 8 weeks of free mentor services if you would like to have support in the digital area and how to grow your business digitally. So go to the website mentorswork.ie. There's only 10 free places left. So if you want to check it out, go to mentorswork.ie. Thank you everyone for joining us this morning. A big thank you to our panel, Una, Gordon and Rob, and we'll see you again next month with more practical business advice. And in the meantime, stay in touch, stay safe, and God bless. Thank you so much. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.